My brother proposed to my fiancée, and my mom took his side, so I cut them both out. My mom is threatening not to attend my wedding after my golden child brother proposed to my fiancée. So I told her she can toss her invite in the trash because I won't beg her to be there. Original post. I never imagined my wedding would turn into a full-blown family war, but here we are. 28 millions have been engaged to my fiancée Olivia 27 Fahrenheit for almost a year now. We've been together for 5 years, and we've built a strong, loving relationship. We've gone through ups and downs like any couple, but nothing could have prepared us for the insanity my family has brought into our lives recently. Let me give some context before getting into the absolute disaster that happened. I have an older brother, Daniel 30 millions, and to say that he's the golden child would be an understatement. Growing up, it was clear that Daniel could do no wrong. He was the athletic, charming, perfect son. My mom worshipped the ground he walked on, constantly bragging about his accomplishments and defending him no matter what he did. Meanwhile, I was the afterthought. I wasn't neglected exactly, but I always felt like I had to fight for recognition while Daniel got praised for simply existing. For years, I tried to ignore the favoritism. I figured once we were adults, things would change. Spoiler alert, they didn't. Even as grown men, my mom continues to bend over backward for Daniel. If he wants something, he gets it. If something goes wrong in his life, my mom makes excuses for him. If he screws someone over, my mom tells them to forgive and forget because family is everything. I've learned to keep my distance, but I never expected Daniel would try to steal the one thing in my life that truly makes me happy, Olivia. The proposal that started it all. A few weeks ago, my parents invited Olivia and me over for a family dinner. I wasn't thrilled about going, but I figured it was harmless. Olivia has always been polite to my family, even though she knows how my mom treats me. Daniel was there too, of course, being his usual arrogant self. At some point during the evening, he pulled Olivia aside for a private conversation. I didn't think much of it at first. He's never been inappropriate with her before, so I assumed he was just being friendly. A few minutes later, Olivia stormed back into the room, visibly shaken. I immediately asked what was wrong, and she pulled me aside. Then she dropped the bombshell. Daniel had just proposed to her, not in a joking way, not as a prank. He seriously asked her to leave me and be with him instead. And the worst part? He had a ring, a freaking engagement ring that he pulled out as if this was some grand romantic gesture. I saw red. I marched straight up to Daniel and demanded to know what the hell he was thinking. And do you know what this smug piece of garbage said? If she really loves you, you have nothing to worry about, right? Like this was some kind of test, like he was entitled to Olivia and just waiting for her to realize she wanted him instead. I lost it. I told him he was a delusional, entitled narcissist and that he was no longer invited to my wedding. That's when my mom jumped in, not to defend me but to defend him. She had the audacity to say, "Daniel can't control how he feels. You're being dramatic." I turned to her and said, "You're seriously defending this? Your son just tried to steal my fiancé and you're acting like it's no big deal?" She crossed her arms and said, "Well, maybe Olivia should have a choice." I was stunned. Olivia was standing right there, shaking her head in disbelief. She said, "I already made my choice. It's OP, and your son is disgusting." That's when my mom started crying, not because of what Daniel did, but because I was overreacting and tearing the family apart. She said if I was going to exile Daniel, then maybe she wouldn't come to my wedding either. I shrugged and said, "Go ahead, toss your invite in the trash. I won't beg you to be there." We left after that, and I haven't spoken to either of them since. But now my phone is blowing up with messages from family members telling me I'm being too harsh. They keep saying Daniel just made a mistake, and that I should keep the peace because family is more important than grudges. I refuse to let Daniel anywhere near my wedding, let alone my life, but some part of me is wondering, am I wrong for cutting them out? Update 1: The madness begins. Wow, I did not expect this much support. Thank you to everyone who reassured me that I'm not crazy for standing my ground. I have an update, and it's a wild one. After what happened at dinner, Olivia and I decided to go completely no contact with Daniel. I told my dad, who is divorced from my mom, everything, and he was furious. He has always known my mom played favorites, but even he was shocked by how low Daniel had sunk. He promised me that he had my back, and that if my mom and Daniel caused any more trouble, he'd handle them. But my mom? She doubled down. The morning after the dinner disaster, she called me. I debated letting it go to voicemail, but against my better judgment I picked up. The conversation started with her fake sweet tone, the one she always uses when she's trying to manipulate me. She sighed dramatically and said, "Sweetheart, I really think you're overreacting. Daniel was just caught up in the moment. He didn't mean anything by it." I scoffed. "He bought a ring, Mom. He planned this. That's not caught up in the moment, that's obsession." She huffed and switched tactics. "You're breaking your brother's heart, OP. Do you even care how hard this is for him? He loves Olivia, and you need to give him a chance to explain." I almost dropped my phone. Give him a chance to explain? Explain what? I told her that Daniel didn't need to explain anything. He tried to steal my fiancée. That's when she hit me with the classic golden child excuse. "But he's your brother." That was it. That was her argument. Not that Daniel didn't do it. Not that what he did was wrong. Just that he was my brother, so I should let it go. I laughed bitterly and said, "Being my brother doesn't give him a free pass to act like a predator." And that's when my mom completely lost it. She started crying, saying I was pitting the family against each other and tearing us apart. She said she didn't know if she could ever forgive me for humiliating Daniel like this. Then she hung up on me. I thought that was the end of it, but no. That same night, Daniel texted Olivia. I was sitting next to her when her phone buzzed. She looked at it, went pale, and handed it to me. The message read, "Olivia, I know OP is manipulating you. You don't have to marry him just because you feel obligated. You and I both know what we have is real. If you ever want to talk, I'm here." He actually thought she would leave me for him. She blocked him immediately, but then Daniel sent me a message. And this one was even worse. "I hope you know you're making a huge mistake. One day she'll realize she chose the wrong brother." I saw red. I sent him one final message. "Stay away from Olivia and stay away from my wedding. If you show up, I'll have security escort you out." Then I blocked him. Update 2. This morning, Olivia got a DM from Daniel's Instagram. He had posted a picture of an engagement ring with the caption, "You can't force love. Some things are meant to be." He tagged Olivia. Yes, he publicly tagged my fiancée in an engagement post. My mom? She fully supported the lie. I found out she had commented under Daniel's post, "I always knew you two were meant to be." I called her and demanded to know what the hell she was thinking. She had the nerve to say, "I just think Olivia deserves options." I told her she was insane and that she was officially banned from my wedding. Update 3. Daniel actually showed up at Olivia's workplace with flowers and a handwritten letter, begging her to choose him instead. She called security, and by the time I arrived he was being escorted out, still ranting about how we were making a mistake. I filed for a restraining order the next morning. My mom defended him again, saying, "He just wanted closure." We had to change the wedding venue twice because my mom kept accidentally leaking it to certain family members siding with Daniel. Update 4. On the morning of the wedding, my mom called my dad, sobbing, saying she had seen the error of her ways and begged to be let in. I didn't believe a damn word of it. A few minutes later, security spotted her and Daniel outside the venue trying to sneak in. My mom had a white dress in her hands. Daniel? He had a speech written out. Security kicked them out before they could even get close. And the best part? Nobody cared. For the first time in my life, Daniel didn't get what he wanted. Update 5. A few days after the wedding, my mom left me a voicemail. She wasn't crying this time, she wasn't begging. Instead, she was furious. She said, "I hope you're happy. You humiliated your brother. You've ruined this family, and I don't know if I can ever forgive you." I laughed and deleted the message. Olivia and I are happier than ever. Daniel has tried reaching out, but every message is either 1. A fake apology followed by, "But you overreacted." 2. Some weird attempt to act like we're still brothers. 3. Straight up insults about how Olivia will leave me eventually. Every message goes straight to the trash. As for my mom, she's still in denial. For the first time in my life I feel free. And honestly, it feels amazing. Final update, I thought that would be the end of it. That after being humiliated at the wedding, my mom and Daniel would finally back off. But of course they had to try one last time. Last week, Olivia and I were out celebrating our first month of marriage when I got a call from an unknown number. I usually ignore those, but something told me to pick up. It was my aunt. She told me my mom had been desperately trying to reach me, and that she had something urgent to tell me. Against my better judgment, I called my mom back, mostly out of curiosity. She picked up immediately, her voice eerily calm. "I just wanted to let you know that Daniel isn't doing well," she said, sighing dramatically. "He's been really depressed ever since the wedding. He's struggling, sweetheart, and I know deep down you still care about your brother." I didn't say a word. I just let her talk. Then she hit me with, "I was thinking, maybe we could all sit down and talk. Maybe Olivia could come too, just so we can clear the air. I think it would be good for everyone." I almost laughed. She still thought she could manipulate me, that she could guilt me into letting Daniel back into our lives, that she could pretend to be the concerned mother, when in reality, she just couldn't stand the fact that I was finally free from their toxicity. So I told her, no, just one word, no explanation, no argument, just no. She got quiet for a second before saying, "One day you'll regret this." I hung up. Then I blocked her number. After that, Olivia and I went home, poured ourselves some wine, and toasted to officially cutting the last string tying us to that mess. Daniel is not my problem. My mom is not my problem. My life is finally mine. And honestly, it feels better than I ever imagined.